an important point on our Afghan allies. What a lot of the talk that you're hearing from left-wingers and neoliberals and the kind of squish conservative types, they call them neocons or the imperialist types, the ones who want to just stay in the Middle East forever and continue to bomb various Muslim countries and spread liberal democracy all over the world. You're hearing a lot of talk about our Afghan allies. I'm going to take you on a little trip down memory lane about our Afghan allies, okay? Because I don't know that we can really know who our Afghan allies are, okay? I appreciate people who have helped the United States out over the years there. In 1983, Ronald Reagan welcomed a group of Mujahideen Afghan freedom fighters to the Oval Office. He pointed out that these freedom fighters were fighting the Soviet Union and so the United States was going to support them. The United States funneled a lot of money to these Mujahideen freedom fighters over the years, in no small part through the Inter-Services Intelligence Agency, which is a sort of state within a state in Pakistan. So through the ISI, and also in other ways, we start funding the Mujahideen freedom fighters. The Mujahideen freedom fighters defeat the Soviet Union leaves, and the Soviet Union collapses shortly thereafter. At that point, believe it or not, all these various Mujahideen groups, all of these various Islamist groups that fought the Soviets, the godless atheist Soviets, turns out they weren't so great at forming a government together, so that plunges Afghanistan into 4 more years of civil war. During that civil war, there were various groups, and even though there were 3, 4, then 5 groups, it turned out that some of the people fighting didn't think that was enough militants in the conflict, so they formed another group. That other group is called the Taliban. They did that with the funding of the ISI and with the encouragement of Pakistan's ISI. Okay. The Taliban quickly, not all, but virtually all of the Taliban's original leadership, by the way, were people that the United States had funded in the original fight against the Soviets. Okay. Taliban takes over Afghanistan, starts to rise during the early 1990s, and then 1996 declares the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. Okay. They rule for about 5 years. They with the support of our allies in the ISI, harbor Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda attack the United States on September 11th. The United States goes in and deposes the Taliban. The Taliban then goes out and retreats. We stay there for about 20 years. Now, the Taliban is coming back into control, so that they were our allies, then our enemy. They were sort of our allies, then our enemy, then our allies again. Now, we get attacked by ISIS. ISIS is a rival Islamic terror group. They just attacked us in Kabul. They're fighting against the Taliban. Now, they attacked us because the security in Kabul wasn't good enough. The security in Kabul had been given to the Haqqani network, as I just mentioned. The Haqqani network was one of the largest recipients of CIA funding during the Cold War. So then the Haqqani network turned against us. The ISI and the CIA were funding the Haqqani network until the ISI started paying the Haqqani network to attack the CIA. Are you still following me? Because I'm not. I can't follow me anymore because it's so damn confusing. You've got the Afghan National Army, which the United States had been funding for 20 years. That's the one that just collapsed when the Taliban walked in. But even the Afghan National Army, first of all, was largely comprised fake soldiers, ghost soldiers, who just existed on paper so that people could get paid, but they weren't real people in real life. There was a report from the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction. It showed that 50 to 75% of Afghan National Army soldiers were high on drugs a lot of the time. When they weren't high on drugs, they were often stealing things, and in some cases, especially in 2012, they were killing our own soldiers and their fellow Afghan National Army soldiers. There was also, we talk about how awful it is that there are new sexual crimes being perpetrated by the Taliban as they take over Kabul. Well, it turns out the Afghan National Army, the good guys, our allies, were perpetrating huge amounts of sexual violence through a practice called baka bazi. This was ritual called boy play. It was ritual pederastic abuse of young boys. There were well over 5,000 reported incidents of this just to the oversight authorities, and almost certainly the problem was much more widespread than that. So please, when you're telling me about what we should do in Afghanistan, please spare me the sanctimony over our allies. Because we have no idea who our allies are, because there are no allies in Afghanistan, which is not a country. It's not a nation. And our allies change by the day, sometimes by the hour. So yes, we all want to evacuate people who are good guys, who are on our side, who help us out, and who want a vision of the world that we do. But that's changed a lot over the years, okay? And I think this is what people's exasperation with our foreign policy in Afghanistan is that we have no idea what we want, because it became initially it was this attack to go kill the terrorists who took down the towers. Then it became this crusade for nation building and spreading liberal democracy and abolishing tyranny from the world. Those are George W. Bush's words. And then it became what? About sending girls to school or something? And that's why we're going to keep our guys in harm's way? What is it? What is it? A sensible foreign policy asks basic questions. What do we want to have happen there now? What do we stand to gain from it? How much are we willing to lose? That's what we have to ask. And all of this claptrap about our allies, the wonderful, amazing no, look, there are no allies. There are interests in Afghanistan, okay? And the longer it takes us to learn that lesson, the worse off we're going to be. Hold up. Hold up. All right? I am glad you liked that video. That makes me feel very good. If you want to leave me a little comment about it, that would make me feel even better. I need you to subscribe, both here on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. Really helps to avoid some of the big tech issues that we've had in some, I don't know, I'm not blaming anybody, but sometimes they don't like what we say. If you go on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, The Michael Knowles Show, subscribe, leave a 5-star review. See you next time.